Hey y'all, this is J Marie of J Marie Booklets, and today I'm coming to talk to you about doctors and the health unit coordinator. So other than the nurses or the PCA, CNAs, the ones we interact most with are the doctors. You know, they'll come to the unit and say, who's the nurse for room 36 or something like that, or who's the nurse for Mr. Smith. And that is usually our interaction with the doctors. Now, there are some doctors who are more personable, and you may have a more familiar feel with them. So like me personally, there were a few doctors that, hey, Dr. So-and-so, how you doing? How's the weekend? You got plans this weekend? Things like that. Just that small talk, or how's your dad, how's your mom, stuff like that. But it was usually reserved for certain doctors. Didn't talk like that to all the doctors. And then there were some doctors where, if you see them, hi Dr. So-and-so, but that was it. You didn't really get too much into it. They'll say hi to me and I say hi to them. And then, some doctors you just didn't really interact with. The only interaction would be when they would come to the floor and they would say, who's the nurse for such and such? And then you go get the nurse, or you call the nurse, and that was that. I mean, they just in and out. There was really no interaction. So for the most part, I never really had an issue with any of the doctors. Now, there was a time where this one doctor, it was just totally out of his character. I don't know what was going on with him. And he came screaming and carrying on, but yeah, I just looked at him. Okay, because I'm like, this is so out of character for you. Usually you don't even say too much, you know what I'm saying? And you in here yelling and screaming, and it just never. And when we interacted after that, it was like nothing had ever happened. And I guess I just looked at him like, this is so out of your character, and it's not that big of a deal, so that was, the interaction. Usually, like I said, I never really had any issues, because I'm not the type to be in the doctor's faces. I'm just not that type of person, or, I'm just not. Now, when I first started, I would feel a little self-conscious calling the doctors, especially when couldn't read the orders. So the doctors nowadays, they put the orders in the computer, but when I first started a long time ago, the doctors used to write the orders on paper. And doctors are notorious for the handwriting. And I would go to every person I knew on the floor and be like, what does this say? And none of us could figure out what it said. And then, finally I'm like, oh God, I gotta call this doctor and ask, what did he write? Okay. But like, that was a long time ago. And like I said, I never really had issues with the doctors. It's just not, I don't know, maybe I've always worked at places where the doctors were good, or I don't know. I just never had issues. I did have an issue one time with a doctor, and I actually got rolled up for it, and I just looked at him, and and my coworkers were like, don't even worry about it, because and let me tell you, he was one of those doctors that came to the hospital once every 90 days. So once every 3 months, he would come to the hospital on the weekends, only on a Saturday and Sunday. So he came to that hospital one weekend every 3 months. And do you know that man raised hell from the time he came through the door to the time he left? I have never seen so many nurses and charge nurses scatter for a doctor in my life. I mean, nurses gone. I'm the only one. It's just literally me and that doctor at the nurses station. The nurses are gone. Charge nurses are gone, because they already knew. They already knew. This man, just like a trail. And it wasn't just like on our unit. It was everywhere. Okay, because I noticed it, because I would float, to a lot of different floors. And when he would come, nurses would scatter. Okay. Because he didn't put the orders in correctly. I mean, he just, like, how many times I gotta tell you this? How many times administration gotta tell you this? And it was this big old whoop-de-doo. So I got rolled up, and it was my first write-up. I was like, and then, because he wanted the director and this and that, and it was a big old everything. And so the nurses in the charge, well, the nurse in the charge nurse, they was like, don't even worry about it, because I wouldn't take my dog to him. I would not have my dog see him. They did not respect that man at all. And that's probably why they were all scattered, because they knew he would be looking for somebody to get them in trouble. He the one who was never putting the orders in correctly. I mean, he put orders and everything all in like a message. Okay, that's not how you put orders in the computer. I mean, he just did these things, but he will be looking for someone to get in trouble. That's why all the nurses, even the charge nurses, were scattered. See, I wasn't the bright one. You know, I should have scattered along with them, but I didn't. I sat there, you know, being a good huck, and you know, and I got in the crossfire. But it was whatever. They was like, don't even worry about it. You know, I wouldn't take my dog to him. I was like, goodness. Okay, but and then after that, I noticed that, you know, I'm like, he only comes here, like, oh, there go that doctor. And then I'm like, well, he has been here like 90 days and 3 months, and here we go with all this drama. And I was like, okay, like, how can you only go to a hospital a Saturday and a Sunday every 90 days and you cause all this ruckus? I just didn't understand it. So, you know, you do have some doctors that are like that. The nurses cannot stand them. Like, no nurses can stand them, because it's always something. They got to write the doctor up. They got to do an incident report. It's always something with that doctor. And so the nurses just scatter because they don't want to be bothered. And then, you know, it take everything in them if that doctor actually has their patient and they got to interact for like 5 seconds with that doctor. It just takes everything in them, you know. So I got rolled up for that, but it was like something stupid. It wasn't even my fault. But whatever, you know. But they were like, don't even worry about it. They was like, because, you know, he just wanted to get somebody in trouble, because he was gonna get in trouble for not putting the orders in correctly. But, you know, that one issue did not turn me against the doctors. You know, I like I said, some, hey, how you doing? And some, hi, doctor, you know, good morning, Dr. So-and-so. And then most of them they just want to know who the nurse is for this patient, so they can talk to them and find out what's going on, so they can get up out of there. And so, you know, my relationship with the doctors have always been okay. You know, I never really had an issue. And you know, and if a doctor, you know, some doctors, I mean, usually I guess the conflict will be more with the nurses and the doctors, and not so much with us, who, you know, we're there, we see everything. Even though, honey, I have seen all kind of stuff. This one doctor, I had never seen him do that, but I had heard he could do it, man. When I say he clown, he act the fool for about 30 minutes. I had to get up and move, because I'm like, don't come over here with that. Okay, I was like, I went in the break room. I was like, this man is like, they wrote him up. You know, there was a big old whoop-de-doo. He showed his behind. Do you hear me? And you know, it hadn't been the same since. You know, I mean, I think the nurses were done with him, because he was just totally out of line. He was totally out of line. I was like, I was scared. I was frozen first, because I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna go. And then when I had my opportunity, I got up and I went in the break room and I stayed back there. I was like, OMG, this man is going bananas. Okay, he wasn't even going bananas. He was all just totally inappropriate in front of the family. I think he got rolled up. He got rolled up by like two different departments. I mean, that's how he got rolled up by the charge nurse, and he got rolled up by the charge respiratory therapist. We're trying to keep this patient alive. You know what I'm saying? I know you trying not to get sued, but we're trying to keep this patient alive. All this is not, don't try to put this on the nurses, because this ain't got nothing to do with the nurses. This is you know, and you're just trying to keep yourself from being sued. So you're trying to make it look like that it's the nurses when it's not. And, you know, it was a big old whoop-de-doo. Okay, and I sat there, I was frozen. I mean, when I say he went off for like 30 to 45 minutes, he was in there screaming 30 to 45 minutes. It was totally inappropriate. I ain't never known no doctor to get rolled up by two different departments at the same time. I was like, but, you know, it had nothing to do with me. You know, it had nothing to do with me. So they handled it, and it hasn't been the same since. But I'm telling you, you know, like I said, we don't really, we see them, we interact with them, but if there's any conflict, it's not really with us, it's between the nurses and the doctors. That's where they bump heads the most. Those are the two that bump the heads the most. And, you know, we really don't have too many issues. Now, if you ever had an issue with a doctor, put it in the comments below. And let's hear about it. You heard about mine, let me hear about yours. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to visit me, you can visit me on my blog. I have a blog called jamariebooklets.com. That's where I talk about being a health unit coordinator. You can explore the site. You know, I write about other things too. I have a book titled I Hate My Job, ebook titled I Hate My Job But I'm Scared to Leave. You know, sometimes it be like that. And you know, just go over there and explore and read past articles and just enjoy yourself. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.